people across Chautauqua Lake. It's called the Chautauqua Ferry. It's been there forever. I used to travel as a kid. It was a quarter. And if you walked on, it was only 15 cents. But you could put your car on board. And we've got the guy who runs it, the official captain and pilot, who is with us, Randy Burke. And Randy's going to tell us a little bit about the basic foundation of it, what it's all about. They're having a big celebration over there. And we have a lot of wonderful things in Chautauqua County we'll also talk about, including a hidden little treasure down in Barcelona, New York, called the Sea Lion, which is a replica of a very old ship. Okay, so here we go. With no further ado, we got Randy. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Reed. It looks like
somebody's scalping you.
Sort of cut my head off. Crazy camera people here. I'll just sit back here. Yeah, we're celebrating our bicentennial July 9th, 10th, and 11th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, which is coming right up here for the Bemis Point Snow Ferry. 200 years. Can you believe that, Reed?
And it's been actually operating for 200 years.
They've been operating.
I wonder how they powered it back when they started. How did it start?
They started out as, like, I think, rowboats and rafts. And from what I have heard, I don't think it was till like the 1830s when they got the real ferry boat. I can't remember the guy's first name. His last name was Mason. But it saved you probably a good 20 miles getting around Chautauqua Lake.
Well, Chautauqua, as I recall, was called, it was an Indian term for a bag tied in the middle. That's what I've always been taught. And the bag tied in the middle is at Bemis Point, where the bag comes right together, and you can throw a stone across.
We got the cables doing it. we're tying the bags. So, so we got a lot planned. We're going to start out on Friday, the 8th. Going to have a rededication at 10 o'clock.
Friday, what's the date of Friday?
This would be July 8th.
July 8th. Okay.
And we're going to rededicate the ferry. On the Stowe side, we have VIPs coming, and that's going to be followed by a private wedding on the ferry.
No kidding.
Just after 11, we got a girl getting married there. Her grandfather was going to marry her, but he passed away probably a month or so ago.
That's kind of a bummer.
Oh yeah, it was sad because he also wrote a book called A Fairy Tale, and Art got this right to the publisher just a few days before he passed away, and that was his big dream, was to write this book. So now we do have a book that will be sold on the history of the ferry. I have a copy at home, and it's really interesting. I give tours, but you don't really know a lot about the ferry until you read up on it.
Well, the ferry did save an awful lot of travel time.
Oh, it's got to save probably a good 20 miles. Took 2 to 3 days back.
We've got a guy on the phone I've been waiting to hear from.
Oh, is he from?
John. I want to thank John. We call him the Doc around here. He likes to be called Doc, and he has comments, happy comments. He's somewhere out in the west. John Hamels, good morning.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
Can barely hear you, but we're fine.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, you're much better.
Okay. Hey, Reed, we're out in the middle of the country right now, traveling west, and it's beautiful and it's sunny. What's it doing over there?
We have a lovely day here. The sun is beaming down behind rain clouds. We're getting a little bit of drizzle, which is just enough to make our flowers and our vegetables just flourish. They're jumping and popping with all the nitrogen in the air.
You mean they're floating?
They're doing very well. They're doing very well.
All right. Well, Reed, last week I did a little technology with our viewers, and I thought maybe we'd talk a little bit more about technology.
Okay.
Right now.
Technology.
I don't know if you have this in your car, but it's called Bluetooth.
Actually, I don't have a cell phone that I use.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have one, but I rarely have to have it charged up,
Well, for a lot of folks that travel, this is a great piece of technology.
Oh, yeah.
Your telephone, your iPhone, or whatever, if your car has this equipment in it, right now I'm talking to you, through the speaker in my phone. I pushed a button. I gave it verbal commands. I didn't push any buttons. No state trooper out here in the West is stopping me because I'm using my phone, and I don't have to text or anything. So I'm talking to you live. How's that? Pretty cool,
Well,
huh?
that's just terrific. It shows what technology can do. Can you get the computer on it?
Not at this point.
Well, you know, it's incredible what they can do with these new cell phones, not to mention just taking pictures.
Right, and that's what I was saying last week. Our cell phones are really computers from 10 years ago. The things that we can do with them is just outstanding.
Yeah.
And that's just another feature that when people buy cars, they might want to be thinking about it, especially for folks that are, don't know how to use technology real well. This is real simple technology.
Yeah,
I got my dad using it on his phone, on his car, so anybody can do it. He's 88 years old.
Holy mackerel, Andy.
Hey, guess who's with me right now?
Bill?
Bill's right here next to me. And Barb is with me, and we're traveling west to see our oldest son, Scott. And so here Randy's with you right now. What are you talking about?
Randy, what are we talking about?
We're talking about that little boat down about halfway down the lake called the Bemis Point Stowe Ferry.
Oh, the Stowe. How's that going? I hear you're collecting cans and money for the upkeep, right?
Oh, correct. We're just trying our hardest. It's volunteers that keep the ferry running. We only run on donations, so any donations we can get is really great. I can't see charging somebody, a lot of money to ride the ferry. They want to ride it, they smile, and just, it's why charge them? If they want to donate, $1, $20, we keep it going. It seems to work pretty well.
It's a hard.
How old is it?
It's a hard job keeping that place going. I know that because.
How old is that? How old is the ferry, Randy?
The ferry's going to be 200 years old. We've used different models over the years. Our ferry, from what I've heard, is the barge is from 1928, 1929. So it's getting pretty old too. We just put new pilot houses on it, and it's starting to look pretty good. We had new ferry landings put in over the winter. We're just tweaking out a few of the problems on those, and it's for the construction company. It was something different to put ferry landings in. And also, being in the middle of the winter, second day they worked on it, the lake iced over, so that made it pretty difficult, and all the rain this spring. So we're running a little behind, but we plan on having it open for the bicentennial here. And we have been shuttling kids across the lake from Bemis Point Elementary School, so we can run it. Just using a little different technique right now. We got my partner John there, he's paddling away. No, not really. We do have it running. So hopefully, I don't think it'll be open this weekend, but next weekend I really hope.
What are you celebrating on the bicentennial, Randy?
As in,
you said you're having the bicentennial.
We're celebrating.
2 years. That's the ferry.
We're
right?
celebrating 200 years since Thomas Bemis got his license to operate
Okay.
the ferry. It was right after Chautauqua County became Chautauqua County in 1811.
And John, how about that for an interesting coincidence? There's a Bemis Point also.
Oh, so who came first, the Bemis or the Stowe?
From what I've heard, I think Thomas Bemis came from Stowe. He wanted to get his friends across the lake. So.
Because I know the Stowe family, and I know that they've got history with the Stowe ferry, and I was kind of curious which one was which. So Bemis left Stowe to go to Bemis.
I guess so. He took his friends and relatives across to start out with, and rafts and canoes, and then from what I've heard, the actual ferry boat was in the middle 1800s, and some guy named Mason actually made the first real ferry boat. So there's been several boats over the years. One of the names that comes up is Elton Ball. I just heard from his family from out west, and
They'll
it's really
probably come
interesting.
in. They'll come in.
I'm hoping they come in. I think we invited them. The really weirdest thing, John, that about the ferry is found in 1936 YouTube. It's a video. It's on YouTube. It's for Chevy, where the ferry was run by Chevy engines back then, and they had a brand new Chevy car drive on it, cross, and come back, and they told about the ferry for about a minute, which was it's really interesting.
Can we? Is it still on YouTube? Can we look it up?
Yeah, I would have to probably send a link to it.
Yeah, well, maybe you just go to Stowe Ferry. Maybe that'd show.
Well, Chevy has probably like 10 commercials on this, and you have to go to like minute number 3
and watch a commercial.
And watch the commercials. But they're just the way they made commercials back in the 30s with the trumpets blowing and stuff was really really neat. So it's neat. It shows I think Alton Ball taking the guy across and talks about it and how many miles he's been on the ferry, and the ferry's only like 996 feet across. So
yeah, less than a fifth of a mile, huh?
I'm thinking when Reed goes on these cruises, that the ships are bigger than the ferry crossing. So
ships are well over 100. Let's see, they're well over a fifth of a mile. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy,
yes.
Hey, do you have a motor that pushes it, or do you have cables that pull it?
We have a diesel Cummins engine. We have 2 paddle wheels connected with a shaft and hydraulics. So all that makes it go is the paddle wheels. It's on 2 cables, which drop down to the bottom of the lake as we go over them. Picks them up off the bottom so that the boats can get through. And they had trouble over the years with the steamboats cutting the cables, and they tried rope, they tried a little of everything, and they finally got the steel cables. As long as you keep a good 10, 15 feet in a boat, you're not going to hit us.
Can't beat it. Well, the big old ships don't go up and down Chautauqua Lake much anymore, do they?
Nah, we got one, and we actually have 2. We have the Chautauqua Bell original paddle wheeler.
Which hasn't got a very deep draft, I don't think.
No, it's real low, and we have the summer wind coming from Celeron. They know to keep their distance, and everybody gets along fine. We have had boats, bump into us over the years. They've taken out the cables, which is an expense because you got to run a new cable across the lake, and they're like 1,400 feet long.
Well, John,
Yeah, Reed.
what's going on out there? Where are you right now?
Well, we're just outside of Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And we should be on the other side of St. Louis tonight. And tomorrow evening we'll be in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
And you'll be seeing your son, right?
Yep, and his family.
And what's a big occasion over there? Just a visit, or is there something going on?
Well, basically a visit. And as you know, Scott's in Special Forces. And he's going for his 4th deployment to Baghdad in the fall. So this is probably one of the last chances we're going to get to spend some family time. So we try to get out there, and he's got some vacation time. So I drink a lot of water and breathe slowly when I'm at 8,000 feet. I don't know about you guys, but it's hard to breathe out there.
Oh, I know. 2,000, that's almost 2 miles up.
Right.
I was out in Colorado at a commune called Libre, which is very famous, and it's still there, actually. Considerably condensed from the hundreds that used to go there in the summer. But at any rate, I was in a cabin which was about 2,000 feet up, and I could see the clouds going by at eye level.
Well, we'll probably get up to Pikes Peak again, and that's always interesting. And we were up there in January one year. It was like 20 below zero.
Oh my gosh! Well, I understand what you say about breathing, because climbing up by foot is you're huffing and puffing when you reach the top. I'll tell you.
You sure are. And the humidity is very dry on top of that. So you got dry air plus way up, and that just makes your sinuses crazy.
Right. Well, fortunately, you don't have to drive. You don't have to walk up to the top of Pikes Peak anymore. You can drive.
That's true, but the military, those boys and women, they run up Pikes Peak for like exercise.
for the morning exercise, right?
I said, you gotta be kidding me. They do it. So anyways, well, listen, you guys have a good show, and I'll give you a holler next week, okay?
Okay, thank you very much, John.